This great county of ours, Lord, we thank you for the things that have been entrusted to us. I pray for your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, Lord, for all of us, Lord, as we move through the changes that we're about to have to make, Lord. And I pray that you take care of our chairman right now, Lord, as he's learning and just keeping us together and keeping us moving forward, and the staff here. We just thank you for the opportunities you've given us, and we thank you for this great county. We know that you will continue to lead us forward in the way that it should go. We just thank you for your many blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. I don't guess I prior warned y'all for that, but thank you anyway. All right. Hey, always ready. There you go. All right, first item on our agenda this afternoon, I'd like to call on Matt Wyndham, Director, Carroll County Water Authority, to bring us up to speed on a project that he has in the works I think is exciting, and want him to do a lot better job of explaining what we've got going than I would. So, Matt.
Commissioner, thank you for the opportunity. Commissioner, thank you for being here today. I met with Commissioner Chambers here last week.
Yeah. No problem, no problem.
While we do that, I got a handout to pass on. All right, can y'all hear me now? Okay. I had a chance to meet with Commissioner Chambers, I guess it was last week, about our
Friday, I think Thursday, Friday, something like that. About
a project that the Carroll County Water Authority has going on or preparing to do. We've been working on this for a number of years. It dates back to 2012, actually. And it's an expansion of our existing Snake Creek water treatment plant. On your handout, you'll see there's a little bit of information in the bottom right corner, a little historical information there that that'll give you a few facts. The Snake Creek plant is our primary source for Carroll County. We've got some groundwater wells, but vast majority of our water that we give to our customers, send to our customers, comes from this plant. Pulls from the Snake Creek Reservoir, which is about 5 miles downstream of this existing plant. The plant was built in 2001, had a capacity of 4 million gallons per day. We expanded that right after that in 2004 to a capacity of 8 million gallons per day. In water business, you've got to be able to meet your peak demands. So our average demands aren't at that level yet, but we're seeing peak days at times that do approach that. So we began to realize we need to expand that plant. We're looking to do that. I want to take the capacity from 8 million gallons per day to 12. And what this drawing here is showing you, if you'll see all the bright blue, kind of the dark blue color there, those are not all new additions that will be added to the water treatment plant. The light gray that's sort of in the center, and then that existing clear well to your far right are existing, as well as this existing raw water pond. So it's going to be a substantial improvement, substantial upgrade to our plant. It's estimated about $28.5 million that we would need to fund the project. We're looking at design being completed sometime this summer, early fall, going to bid, construction starting sometime next year, with about a 2-year window to be complete in 2022 or so. Fortunately, we've planned ahead. We're not in any kind of dire straits to get it done, and any, a few months one way or the other won't really impact us, but we do need the project. So how do we pay for this project? We ultimately pay for the project through our ratepayers. We've been planning for that. We've got some existing debt that's coming off of our books in 2022, neighborhood of about $1 million per year in payment. This will be added at that time, about the same time, so we've kind of planned for that to happen. And a little bit more revenue generated that we'll need to pay off the $28.5 million debt, but we're planning for those through small rate increases. We've done one last year, dollar increase per customer. We've got another one planned to take effect next January of 2020, and then it'll take one more to fund the entire project. The vast majority of the money we would like to borrow from GEFA, which is the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority. They're great. They have low interest loans, lower than the bond market can provide, lower than any kind of placement you get with a private bank. So that's when I came to Commissioner Chambers. Is we submitted our application for that loan for $25 million from GEFA. They have it. They're reviewing it. We think they'll review it very positively. We have 4 existing loans with them now that are in repayment, and I've got a great relationship with them. One thing they asked for, and historically have wanted or require, is a full faith and credit pledge to back that loan from Carroll County government. What they wanted this year, which a change in their policy, was a letter of support from Carroll County. And so I came to Commissioner Chambers with that letter. It's a non-binding letter, just says that the chairman, acting chairman supports that project. And if the loan's approved, we'd be coming back to the Carroll County Commissioners for that full faith and credit pledge. That's something you all have been gracious to bless us with 4 previous times in my tenure over the last 5 or 6, 7 years. And hopefully I'll be coming back to you sometime late summer or early fall, maybe even sooner. I'm hoping GEFA might act on as early as May. So that's the rundown of the project. I mean, we could talk about this project for hours if you were interested. I know you don't have time for that. I want to be conscious of your time tonight. One thing we are planning to do is I'm going to take a tour of some of my directors out to the existing plant. If anybody's interested in joining us that hasn't been, it'd be a great time to go before the construction, because I'd like to bring you back after the construction and see the real improvement they're going to be there. It's a great plant. Improvement we're making there is not somehow that we're inefficient there now. It's just going to make it much better, much stronger, much more robust, and really increase our capacity. We can meet our county's needs for many years to come from a treatment plant standpoint.
And I did get Stacy and Avery to look at that letter before I signed it, but I think it's something we've done in the past, and look forward to working with Matt as he continues to service our citizens as well. So just wanted you all to be aware of what we had done.
How far in the future will this carry us once you get up to 12 million gallons?
It's a good question, right? We think this treatment capacity here would probably take us toward 2030. And maybe beyond. It's hard. It just depends on the growth, right? Depends on what we get as a county, industrial growth, residential growth, commercial growth. Those things are hard to project. Right now, our average daily demand is in the 5 million gallons per day, but we've seen a peak demand sometimes in the 7s. You lose some capacity in your treatment process, so if it's an 8 million gallons per day plant, you can really only get about 90% of that out into the public. So about 7.2 is the max, and we've hit that on some real peak days. Fortunately, we've got neighbors that can sell us water if we need to. So we're fine now. But yeah, I'd say at least 20, 30, probably longer, honestly. It's just hard to predict, but that'd be conservative.
At least till the loan's paid off.
No doubt. Well, I mean, the capacity, and I would say this, when it's time to expand it again, the front end part of this plant work we're doing, we're already building in some additional capacity in there. So to save money, really, because it's easier to do today, pour the concrete today, and add some equipment later. And so we're being smart about it. My board's been proactive in recognizing our need to raise revenues for debt, and they've done that. And I would say to that, thank you all for appointing good business people to our board. When we have good business people that help me make decisions, then we do a lot of good things, and I'm real blessed to have a great board and have for many years. So thank you all for that.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right. If y'all have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll be glad to answer anything that you might have.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the opportunity.
I just asked Matt to come so you all would be informed on our conversation and that I had signed a letter of support. So thank you.
One thing, Mr. Wynn, on this loan that you're going to be trying to get, have you got a financial plan that we can have access to look at? Is that something that?
You sure can. I mean,
okay.
We'd be glad to provide you as much information as you like on our finances.
I'm not looking for a lot of detail. I just want to look at the plan that you put together in order to get the loan. I'm just curious at the revenue projections that you have.
I actually got some information here that if you want to give me a call, I'd be glad to sit down with you or present it to the commission at any time they'd like. I usually would present more of that as we get closer to actually asking you to sign the official full faith and credit pledge. But we can get together and I'll show you our plan that we've got in place. Because we're also planning for other projects like the reservoir project and other things. So we've got an entire financial plan that puts
Okay.
together how we need to fund these projects.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Next item is our financial recap. Alicia, you prepared for that, please, ma'am?
February continued to be a strong month financially for us. We're still running far ahead of last year as far as revenues are concerned. Our cash continues to be have positive cash flow there. Our expenses are holding where they should hold. We're below budget on our expenses. So at the end of February, we had collected about 85% of our revenue, and we had expended 85% of our budget, our budgeted revenue. And also at the end of February, we had expended about 64% of our budget. So last year, we had expended about 64% of our budget, but we had only collected about 78% of our revenue. So our revenue collections are good. Sales tax still continues to come in strong. We're getting close on collecting all the property taxes that we had projected for fiscal year 2019. So I think our financial report's in good shape.
Thank you, Alicia. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll move on along. Next, I'd like to call on Charles Pope, Public Works Director, to bring us up to speed on where we are on the purchase of our mowing machines.
Yeah, what we are wanting to do is purchase four 6145M four-wheel drive cab tractors with a 26-foot saber mower on the side with a 50-inch cut.
Mr. Pope, I'm assuming these tractors, I mean, obviously this is a big expense for us, but I'm assuming these are heavy-duty tractors and mowers. Can you give a little information about the tractors themselves?
Yeah, I can. We met with Mr. Hubbard and them and Mr. Lee met with us too, and went over the tractors and we got the boom mower size first. So we know what we wanted for the boom mower size. And then we had to fit that boom mower on a good tractor that would fit our application to run. And these tractors are the right size tractor for the side mowers. They should hold up good. Cabs should be able to run them year round, even in the rain.
Get more production.
That's right.
Cab tractor.
Yes, sir.
And
I had
safety
a
as
hard
well.
time convincing Alvin Chambers of that, too.
And that M series, that's a heavier duty tractor as well, correct?
It is, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we've got the guys here from Sun South that are
Yeah,
or
they're here to
know
answer
all there
any
is to know
questions
about
if
it,
you
so.
have any technical questions.
Well, I think the main issue is just obviously something that's safe. I think that moving forward, we need to look at cab tractors. I've heard that some of the insurance companies won't even consider moving forward insuring something if it doesn't have a cab because of the safety issues. I know in Villarica there was an employee that had a piece of shrapnel land nearly in his jugular and killed him in an open tractor. So that's a big deal. But I just think making sure that this is a heavy duty. Obviously John Deere is well known, but making sure that we're getting a heavy duty product. And I think you need something, as much as this is going to be run, you need something that's going to last and stand up. So as long as you feel comfortable with that, I do.
Y'all noticed the warranty is included in there. $5,857 for each tractor is on the warranty, which brings the total for $179, $124.20, and total for all four would be $716, $508.80.
Is any hats included in that?
I'm not touching that one. Thank you, Charles. While you're up here, if you'd like to go on and discuss our solid waste contract renewal that we did.
Yeah, what we're proposing to do is, and sign a new contract, and they do have an increase. It's a solid waste service, agreement. In this, we've been paying this $802,800 since 2006. So it's working on 13 years, and we've not had an increase. And they actually sent us, and they wanted to go up $262,000. So Susan and I, we sat down and talked to them. We got it down to 161, so it knocked off 100,000. And so that would bring the total contract to $964,020.83.
And this is for the hauling the waste from the stations around the county?
No, it's hauling from our convenience centers to our transfer station.
And it does not include hauling it to the end user, right?
No, that's a separate contract.
Okay,
We
that's
pay
what
by
I
the
thought.
ton on that one.
Okay.
I'm assuming you made a decision not to try to bid this out.
We've in the past, we've bidded some out. I really think if we bid this out, and it would come back probably around 1.2 or 1.3.
Okay. I know that there's been some local municipalities in our county that have bid out, and it actually came back higher than the negotiated contract amount, which seems like what you're trying to do here. Even though it's an increase, I think I feel comfortable seeing that what's happened around us.
And Susan had done some research, and if it went up every year on the CPI index, then we would be beyond this right now. So we went 13 years at the same cost, so I think we've done pretty good.
All right, thank you, Charles, appreciate that.
Okay?
Thanks, John.
And did I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, we got confirmation back from them that they had agreed to?
That's correct. We do have the contract, so when y'all vote on it and agree on it, we just sign off on it, we're good.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I thought that's what I understood, but I just wanted you to.
Can I go back one to the tractors? You never did say how long before they come online, do you know?
I should have them here in the middle of June. Once I get that, delivery date's gonna be June the 14th. And once I get them here, it's gonna need a couple of days to go through them. All thing I have to do, because these tractors are special order, 2 tires, so they put all the white implements on it for the boom mower.
Right.
So when it gets here, all I have to do is go through the tractor, put the heads on each cutter, and then be ready to go.
Okay, I just know we start getting calls about the end of May, June, we start getting calls about right away.
Absolutely.
If everything works well, by July 1, they should be in service.
Yeah, you should be up and running, but I do. And I just wanted to add what Tommy said about the cab tractor productivity. I sold a couple cab tractors to Herb County 5 years ago, and they said their productivity has increased because in the summertime they're cool, and in the wintertime they're warm, so the guys not taking longer breaks. They got to lunch in the cab, so they actually take 10, 15 minutes to eat the lunch, going back to work.
If I may, Commissioner Chance, you mentioned about safety. These are gonna come, when Tiger installs them, they put Lexon safety glass. They take out the manufactured actual tempered glass, and they put a Lexon style ballistic glass on the right side of the tractor to help with that issue of projectiles.
Yeah, thank you for that additional information.
And the funds to pay for this come from?
Splash.
All right, next on, next on the agenda, call on Commissioner Lee Powers for a request from the town of Rookville.
Yes, I had a request from the town of Rookville. You know, we've built a new pavilion for the city of Rookville, and when they're having events and stuff, there's not any restrooms there, and they're wanting to add some restrooms around the pavilion area, and they requested $50,000 to add the restrooms and the fill lines and septic or whatever they need to do to make that happen. And it's going to help with the Rookville Fest that they have every year. And it will make the pavilion more usable because there'll be restrooms there.
Any questions from the board?
Where will the funds be coming
You know where they will be coming. They'll be coming out of the District 5,
Okay.
unless you want to donate them out of something else.
Moving into the business session, we call on Pete DeBeck to kind of give us a 30,000-foot view of the flood resolution, please, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. On February 15th, FEMA notified the county of revisions to the county-wide flood insurance study. This is not changing any information as far as the flood maps or the flood study for Carroll County, but because of the review, FEMA reviewed, along with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, our flood ordinance, and they came back with 6 minor revisions they'd like to make, mostly adding definitions and changing some terminology. Those have been included with your packets. I won't go over them now unless you just need to. If you have any questions on the flood ordinance, I can answer them.
Any questions from the board?
So this is just a mandate coming down from the federal government that we need to implement? I don't know if I'm exactly following what this is.
FEMA is just changing some terminology in our flood ordinance. Our ordinance already meets and/or exceeds the model ordinance set down from FEMA. Without this ordinance in place, our citizens could not buy flood insurance. And it's simple things like the definition for building is to be struck, and buildings should only be referred to as structures, and flood proofing added. There's only 6 minor changes in all. Since you brought that up, I will bring the attention to the last, this right here. Where is our new proposed? Special flood hazard areas identified by FEMA in the flood insurance study dated April 19th, 2017, with accompanying maps and other supporting data, and any revision thereto are adopted by reference and declared part of this ordinance. That means anytime FEMA changes anything to the flood ordinance as far as the maps go, Carroll County automatically adopts it. So this is, we already adopted the new ordinance and the new maps coming in. They just asked for some terminology to be changed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Last item on the agenda is a resolution from Department of Revenue, dealing with the Department of Revenue. Call on County Attorney Stacy Blackman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is a proposed resolution to request sales tax information from the Department of Revenue and also to name an officer to make those requests. And so we would propose naming Alicia Searcy, our comptroller, as that designated officer, and then to request the information that we can obtain from the Department of Revenue. This is pursuant to Senate Bill 371 that was effective July 1, 2018, so we can request the information back to 2018, and the information has to be kept confidential. If the Board of Commissioners have the information, it has to be discussed only in executive session, and if anyone has a conflict, they have to be recused. This is the model resolution proposed by ACCG.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, thank you. All right, well, that is all that I have on our work session agenda. Would remind everybody, the sheriff's event tonight, let's go out and support him and his employees and what they do to help us. So, hearing nothing else, we'll stand adjourned.